Okay, now with lunch, we're gonna do a little experimenting. We'll open this up, and if it looks like it's like not tomato based, which I really can't tell, it is hard to try to read anything or translate anything, these freeze-dried pro-pack type packages. But if it just looks like this is rice and chicken with a little bit of bouillon, I might actually put this curry soup in here and turn this into a curry dish. Kind of like how everyone recommended that I do with that last Korean ration. Dump in the soup mix along with the water to let all of those flavors just permeate and mix together. And the only way we're gonna know is if we rip this thing open. Now these R.I.L field meals are so nice. They have a zip seal on the bottom, and of course they have the tear notch at the top. We'll just crack this thing open. Looks like there is a little tomato, but you know what? I've seen tomato in curries plenty of times, so we're gonna add this in just because we said that we can. Now this calls for 330 ml or about 11 ounces of water, and it's hard to read, but it says leave it in there for about 5 to 8 minutes. So let's add that water. And like they say, you only live once, so live a little curious with a little interest. Let's add this water in here. And we'll get in here, we'll try to give it a little stir. Try to mix it all up. And this type of drink mix calls for 500 milliliters or about 17 ounces of water. Okay, let's put everything else on the tray. We've got this Apricot Peach energy bar. Oh, this smells good. Actually, you can smell the peach in here. That's going to be quite pleasant. And then we have another box of these campaign biscuits, but I am only going to use the sweet biscuits from this package because I want to use the savory ones for that mackerel pate. Then, of course, there's this date energy type of power shot or drink. It is not necessarily that we could use it for lunch, but sometime between lunch and dinner. And then for this review, we're going to use my favorite spoon, the Tactical Eating Shovel, produced by Australia and New Zealand. And I understand you can get different colors of these things, which is kind of neat. And let's check out our main. It has been over 5 to 8 minutes. I'm going to fold this really quick and just give it one more good solid shake. Let's look to see what this stuff looks. Oh, wow. Look at that. Has that nice yellow curry color. Oh, it smells so awesome. This just goes to show, don't be afraid not to follow the instructions exactly as it says on the packet or on a shelf that you bought. Innovation is the key to improvements. If you always follow the directions, you would never be able to build a better mousetrap. So, paint outside the lines or color outside the lines. You might be happy with the results. Now, you're wondering, why didn't you have your pate with lunch like normal people will? Because this is a huge, huge amount of food. You want to be able to walk in the afternoon. Wow, look at this stuff. This is awesome. It has that nice yellow curry color. You can see the little tomato bits in there, the little pieces of poultry or chicken, and that little pasta. Let's give that a try. That tastes just so smooth. Of course, you can get a little bit of that tomato. It also has some onions in here, a little bit of paprika, some rosemary, and man, it just sings happiness. And there goes Sherman upstairs. Somebody must be knocking on the door. But this is really outstanding. It really is good. In fact, we're going in for another bite. And you just see all of this stuff, man. The poultry, the chicken, it's in a cube form. Hopefully, oh, I'm dripping again. Hopefully you can see a little bit of it there. And here's some of it. It provides a little bit of chewiness, because otherwise this would just be a total soft, you know, meal. But yeah, that chicken really gives it just an extra little bite, and that curry just takes this thing right over the edge. Wow, I'm glad I did that. I am impressed by that. And let's take a look at our date energy gel. And just a thing to note, if you get one of these, I use this tear notch, and it made it kind of a real pain in the butt to get it out. So if you cut it closer to the bottom, I'm sure you'll get even better flow, which that's exactly what we did. Now it has a large opening. Let's get our crackers out. And again, these are like graham crackers, so they are going to go well kind of as a dessert. And we'll just squeeze some of that date. This is more like a date paste. Check that out. That is going to taste good. Sure, that date's going to be nice and sweet. And it is. You have that sweetness, that fruitiness of that date on this graham cracker type thing. Man, that just really works together. I have no idea why dates aren't as popular here as in Europe, but man, or Asia even, but man, it's so flavorful and tasty. And then we have that apricot and peach energy bar. This is really good. When you smell it, you smell the apricot, but when you're actually chewing it, the peach comes out. And it's got, you can see these little specks, these little crunchy bits in it that other coffee bar did not have. Well, I guess it was a coffee bar, quinoa coffee. That is really good too. Overall, this meal has been outstanding. And then here is our peach drink. And it is watered down, so if you wanted to have a more strong, potent flavor, just add less water. You know, 300 mil, 400 mil, whatever you want. I always do more, because if I'm out in the field, I want to get as hydrated as possible, and flavored water at times is more appealing. And this was lunch. Okay, we're at the final stretch. Now it's time for dinner. So we're going to make our shepherd's pie. I've already seen us make coffee, but I would hang on to that if I had radio watch or something like that during the night. So we'll make the hot chocolate, and we'll make this orange drink. Okay, again, this is kind of a neat design. You know, you pour in your water this way, and after it's prepared, you can tear it again and use this for a bowl. And there's plenty of companies that have that design. You see the instructions right there. It calls for 455 milliliters of water, and we're going to wait for about 10 to 15 minutes while it does its thing. There's Allie. She's decided to play a little bit. Oh, man. Just trying not to have this explode on me like Sticky Fingers did one day. That is interesting. It smells more of potato. You kind of slightly smell the shepherd's pie spices. One thing it does say, it says pour the water slowly. Alrighty then. Nope. There's alligator playing again. Make sure that gets all down in there. And then looking in there, there's even a graduated scale. Alligator. That's probably for, I'm guessing, mill level. Wow, this seems like an awfully lot of water. And I'm going to get in here, mix this around a little bit. Boy, that seems like an awful lot of water. Oh, okay. There was a little pocket where it hadn't been touched on the other side. But again, I'm assuming this has a lot of mash in there as well. And it already looks like it is thickening up a tad, so that might be spot on. And we'll give this a seal. And again, these call for 500 ml, but this time we're going to test my theory. We're going to use 400 and see if we have a flavor explosion. It's more like lemonade than orange. grab our Mackerel Pate. Oh, it's got that nice little oil on there. Oh man, that's gonna be good. It smells pretty good too. No complaints from me. And of course the crackers that we saved from lunch, they will go nicely with our pate. And then we have the chocolate bar. Now we can either eat this as our dessert or hang on to this. Again, if we have radio watch or, you know, oh, got some bloom. Did so well with my last ration. I had 0 bloom, and it kind of like exploded everywhere too. Man, total bummer. I think this is the first time that for one of these type of chocolate bars that I've had collateral damage like this. Well, let me get the rest of this cleaned up. All right, a little bit of that Kiwi Dude magic. Okay, it's time. And I know I did a much better job of preparing this than I did. I think that last ration I got from Denmark, boy, that turned out to be a soup sandwich. Half of this stuff was powdered flake. Tell you what, I'm going to put a little bit of this on here because I want to try out their little handy dandy bowl. So that's what it would look like if you just tore off that tear notch. You would still have access to everything, but man, it is hard to get that notch open when these things are hot. Imagine that, unless you take a good knife to it. But just so you can see the amount of food just from, oh man, no! Flakage. Well, let's try to do a little damage control. Oh man, I tried so hard. Do a little damage control. We'll just get all of that mixed in real quick. Ah, bummer. But that's the problem when you got potato flakes. Jeez, it's everywhere. Let me just try to hide it so you all can't see it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, what potato flake? I don't know what y'all talking about. But anyway, this stuff, of course, has potato flakes, as we've seen. Just a little bit of beef. Only 18% of this is beef. And it has sunflower oil, some skim milk, salt, onion, and pepper. So that is all of the lovely seasonings and ingredients. I would say that's the only downfall of having a ration that its main ingredient is potato flakes. When you add that water, you really have to work fast to get it down to the bottom. So here is the shepherd's pie, more like potato flakes with a little bit of meat. And I actually like, because the meat is very well distributed. You can see all these little specks that are all over the place. That is all the little pieces of meat. That last one I had, the meat was in little squares or little cubes. And you only got one every once in a while. And sometimes, the way how it's packaged, usually the flakes go in first, or the meat goes in first, and the flakes on top, and vice versa. So it's usually concentrated in one area. But with this particular ration, it's mixed evenly and dispersed. So that is incredibly pleasant. Just I wish that there were a little less potato flakes. But that's more on me than the ration. Man, if you were camping and you had like a little bit of nice crisp toast, boy, that would go really well with that. Let's try out our pate. Very smooth, very creamy. You can see what looks like we got some peppers in there. Spread some on our savory cracker. Man, that does look pretty good. And it does. It contrasts so much with this that it is actually pretty good together. Even though you wouldn't think shepherd's pie and mackerel work. But here you have a really hot main, and then you have this coolness of the pate, and you have the texture, you have the crunch with the cracker. All just kind of blends seamlessly. And then we have our orange drink that was been sitting off camera. Give that a swig. Even with 400 ml, it's still not very pronounced and very sharp. But again, it's there to hydrate you. It's an isotonic drink. It's not there like Starbucks to make you happy and feel good. These are military rations. And then we have the hot chocolate. Oh, that's some hot water. But it has a nice, smooth, and light chocolatey taste, which is always a Benny. And just so you can see how smooth this pate is, just like with that cheese, your crackers just go right into it, so you can actually get it without having to use, you know, your bayonet or an entrenching tool to get the cheese out of the can, or the pate, as it were. Good stuff. And the last thing we have is our roached out, burned out, bloomed out 1848 chocolate bar. At least the inside is still nice and happy and dark. But this just shows you, temperature fluctuations affects chocolate. The oils in it rise to the surface. And this was a review of a French R.I.L, or freeze-dried ration for an individual. Thank you for my buddy Bob for hooking me up with it. I think this is the only one that I've seen in English, so that is kind of a rarity. But everybody, thank you for joining me today, and I will see you all on my next review. Bye. They're made out of flour. They have potato starch in them, a little bit of vegetable fat, and a bunch of other, like Marley Balt. Gee.